Alright guys, what's going on? Shellz here again, and today we'll be discussing midfielders Man United should buy in January, and even in the summer. This list will pretty much be the same. I think this is definitely guys United should be looking to buy. All realistic targets. I think United could definitely get their hands on these guys. Obviously I'm not going to put guys on the list. Let's have a look, maybe a quick think of who guys that definitely United couldn't get. Obviously guys like Modric, I don't think United could get hands on him. You know, Pjanic, I don't think United would leave Juventus and like that. Even obviously Goretzka, is he going to leave Bayern Munich? Just going there. Examples like that. Obviously going to keep these realistic players that, definitely have the ability to go out there and buy. I think this is my list I've drawn up. I think there's 12 players here. So let's get started with the first one. And first on the list is Tanguy Ndombele at Lyon. I think this guy's a fantastic player. Lyon just got this guy, but they did buy him from a loan to buy scheme, which they're going to probably, I think they might potentially be willing to cash in on him immediately. I think he'd be a fantastic centre defence midfielder for United. You look at United's midfielders at the moment, Fellaini isn't good enough, Matic isn't good enough, Ander Herrera just never gets the game time for some reason, Fred just sits on the bench. He'd be the perfect guy I'd put there, and I'd sit him at centre defence midfielder and just have him protect the back four. I think he'd be a fantastic player to do that, but definitely a player that I think is only going to get better with age. Just 21 years old, and definitely he will keep improving. Frankie de Jong is another player that's a very interesting player. I think a guy that seems to be very versatile. Can play centre mid, centre defensive mid, centre back, and a player that's been linked to Barcelona a lot, the Ajax player. And I think him and de Jong are going to be fantastic players for years to come for the Netherlands, Holland. So they've produced some good players. Obviously after the World Cup disaster this year, not getting there. I think Holland are going to be in good hands coming up for the next 10 years with the players they're producing, along with Memphis Depay, of course, and players like that, Virgil van Dijk. So I think that'd be good. This kid's a really fantastic player. If I was buying it for United, I'd stick him again at centre defence midfielder. Stick him in front of the back four, protect the back four, and making sure everything's just wrapped up. There's no problems. I think he'd be a perfect fit for that, but I don't think United will get him. I think he potentially will move to a Barca or someone else. I think United will be a little bit slow to him, and unfortunately it's going to cost them big time. Ruben Neves, this guy is, to me, might be probably I think he's going to be the best, emerging centre or centre mid, pardon me, coming up. I think he's a fantastic player. For Wolves bought him, I knew about him before Wolves bought him. I thought he was really good then. I think with Wolves, when I watched him this year, and I've watched him a match today, and watched Wolves play, I'm very, very impressed with him. I think he's a terrific player, and it's interesting to see how he keeps, how he keeps on improving. Does he keep improving to that next level? Because I feel like he's just just touching the talent. 21 years old now in the Premiership, looking like a Premier League player, which is as soon as you see those guys come up from Championship and it takes them a while to adjust, he's adjusted right away. I think he's a terrific talent, and when I watched him play against Man United earlier in the season, I was really impressed with his gameplay. I thought he was a magnificent player, and definitely a guy United should be keeping tabs on if he becomes available or anything. It's any deal or. But I think United will have to pay the bank to get him. I think United will have to pay something like 50-60 million to get their hands on him. And unfortunately, I think that might be a bit too much to spend on him just now. But if he keeps growing, maybe in a year or two, I think he'd be a perfect player to go after. Sandro Tonali is an interesting name. Now, for people who haven't heard of Sandro Tonali, he's basically been linked as the next Andrea Pirlo. So that's high praise for someone of an Italian football. Now, Chelsea are interested in buying this guy from Brescia. Is that Brescia? I don't know how to pronounce that. Juventus are interested, a lot of Italian clubs, Inter interested, I think AC as well. If you have a chance to get a kid that has potential to be the next Andrea Pirlo, just go out and do it. I don't care what Chelsea pay for him. We're Man United. Just pay. If they want to pay the money for him, just basically tell them, right, whatever deal Chelsea does, we'll beat it. Because I have a feeling this kid will be perfect. Buy him now. What you do, you can loan him back to Brescia for a year or two, get him to develop, put him in the United Academy, put him with Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, Tate Chong, get him experience. Perfect player to come through the academy then in 2-3 years' time. He probably only needs 2 years in the academy, and boom, into midfield he goes. Partners Pogba, partners Fred, and suddenly United have a world-class midfielder that they've developed for 2 years. I think he'd be the perfect player for that. Obviously, not player that's going to be instant impact, but a player that we can develop over time, give him 2 or 3 years to develop as a player he could be, and therefore would have him, immediately to come up as the next big thing. Because, he could be the next Pogba from United Academy. Obviously, Pogba kind of left us to go to Juventus, but you kind of get the point. The next big United midfielder coming through. A player who would be the opposite of Sandro Tonali, but instant impact, would be Sergej Milankovitch Savage. Not having a good year this year at Lazio, let's be immediately clear off the bat. not a good year at all. Looks completely different to what he was last season. Obviously, in the World Cup, had a pretty World Cup. I gotta be fair to him, but he is a fantastic player. Great height, obviously 6'3". You know, very Pogba-esque. I feel like if United were to lose Pogba potentially, you know, to Real or something, he probably Milankovitch Savage or Milankovitch Savage. I don't know if his name. I need to look it up. But I feel like he would be one of the first candidates that they would look for. You know, he's got the, you know, he's pretty much what Jose Mourinho would love that. I'm surprised Jose Mourinho hasn't bought him to play centre defensive midfielder because he's the perfect stat. 6'3". What more does Mourinho want? I mean, he fit exactly what he wants, but obviously he doesn't want him for some reason. So I don't know what exactly with that. Or else Ed Woodward's a little bit, you know, like Lazio are asking for too much money, which I presume it is the latter more likely because there's been links with United, and obviously those links, where there's smoke, there's fire technically. So, you know, I think United do look into a lot of players. They aren't obviously going to look in and just, you know, I think Lazio looking for over 100 million for him. I think if United could get a deal for him for 75, 80 million right now, I think I'd absolutely take it over him. Even if we have bought Fred for 50 million, I'd slot him right beside Pogba. Might be a good guy. I'd even play him as centre defensive midfielder. I think he'd be pretty good at that position, even if he doesn't, even if he doesn't think so. But hey, what do I know? Nassim Awar, another Lyon player here in their centre mid. Definitely a player that's emerging as well this season. Seems to be a guy that's definitely got a very high ceiling, and you know he's got versatility there. He can play the left side as well. I think Lyon actually have built a very nice team. You know, they got Ndombele, Awar, Memphis Depay up front to beat Man City already, of course. So you know, Raphael right back, big fan of his. They've built a good team, and you know you got to look at these players and think, you know, how long can Lyon keep these players realistically? Are they going to be able to keep these players? Because you got PSG in the French division, and PSG just buy up everyone. They're like the Bayern Munich of the French division. I think you got to strike now, really, if you're going to get the best out of some of these guys. And I think, you know, get him before he reaches his peak and before you have to pay. You know, if he goes somewhere like, say, if he goes to PSG for 2-3 years and then he wants to leave, then he'll be worth another 20-30 million just because he's been there. But again, another player I think United should keep tabs on, and definitely a player that would be one for the future. Corentin Tolisso. Now, I remember Corentin Tolisso left for Bayern Munich, and I was just like, why were we not in for him? It feels like Bayern buy a midfielder every single summer, and I've got to really respect the way they've done this, because I feel like you got to do the same. You got to keep buying midfielders every summer. You can't just sit back and like, oh yeah, our midfield's grand, won't buy anyone. You got to buy one midfielder every summer, I feel, and keep improving. I think Tolisso is a fantastic player, just 23 years old. Now, do I think he'll leave Bayern Munich? I think it'd be a bit of a stretch. I think you'd need to give Bayern Munich a big incentive to sell him. I think obviously Bayern Munich has so much depth. You know, Renato Sanchez looks like he's getting back to form for things in Portugal. So he's a guy I think potentially would be, you know, if United were in the hypothetical situation to lose Pogba in January for some ridiculous deal, I think he'd be a guy I'd look to try and replace Pogba with. A player I think could make instant impact, just 23, plenty of time left in the tank. So again, a player that I'd be very impressed with, and I think could be perfect for United. Yuri Tillymann is an interesting name. Yeah, this guy definitely has not worked out the way he expected. Went from Anderlecht to Monaco, and I presume he thought Monaco would be challenging for titles and, you know, being challenging Champions League, but it hasn't worked out for that Monaco that much. They've fired Jardim, of course, and well, he's kind of left there as kind of, you know, just kind of the odd man out, I feel like, in a way. But yeah, he's a good player. I think I'm very impressed with him as a player. I thought he's got some great long shots, can really just, you know, really smack them from distance. Again, a player I think potentially might be looking to move on from Monaco. He might look long picture here. Are Monaco going to be challenging for the French League this year? No. Will Monaco be challenging for the French League in a year or 2 or 3 years' time? To be honest, I don't see that. I think he might be looking for that move up to another big club. You know, Monaco, of course, had that great season. They had Mbappe, of course, playing where they got that semi-final of the Champions League, but since then they've been pretty diabolical. And a player I think potentially might be on the looking for a move out. I think potentially, you know, United should look into seeing what they could, if they can get a deal for him. I think he'd be a fantastic player to develop, you know, get some competition at midfield room, you know, just a player to, you know, push players to the best. Adrian Arrabbiata is another player I've mentioned in the past. I feel like, have I bought him in United career? I don't think I did. I think I bought him in 2016, but not this one, or not when the words are recorded. Again, a fantastic player. Again, this guy's contract is up in January, so you can potentially, you know, go to him to sign a pre-contract. I'm pretty sure that's actually, he has a pre-contract. He's not, has he signed a new deal? I think he want to sign a new deal. Has he? Ooh. Let's try. Just a quick check here. This is I should have done this prior. Oh, he has rejected a new deal. Okay, so he's still available. I Potentially might have signed a new deal, or I saw someone else signing a new deal today. But this guy's on a he's got a pre-contract January. If I'm United, I'm signing this guy on a pre-contract. I don't care who United have. I don't care. Juventus apparently looking at him. I saw Juventus having a good glance at him. But if you've got to look at guys like this guy as a pre-contract and just go, right, 6'4", 176, play centre mid, centre defensive mid. What you got to lose signing a pre-contract? Doesn't work out, just sell him next 2 years' time. No equity gained. Someone in France will surely pay to recoup the wages you paid for him and stuff like that. I think he'll probably end up at a big club, but I think United might be probably won't be in the running for him, unfortunately. But I think if United got Zidane before January, I think Zidane would potentially be interested in him potentially. So we'll have to see. Thiago is next down the list, the guy that Bayern Munich are trying to get rid of, and a player I'm a little bit surprised Bayern Munich are trying to get rid of, but he is getting a little old. I can see potentially why they're looking to move on from 27 years old, of course, but again, a fantastic player. Interesting. I'm very surprised that he never came back to Spain. I thought he'd go back to Spain much earlier, but obviously a player that I think will probably, if he used to move on, will probably look to return to Spain. I think more likely than that, but I think a player that could, come to United, give it an impact, and someone who could, get United going again. I think him with Pogba would be fantastic. Pogba needs someone who can, play on his speed level, because it seems big issue United right now. They just don't have anyone who can play on Pogba's, speed level. Ander Herrera is the closest to that, which tells you a lot about United. With Ander Herrera as a defensive midfielder, he's not an attacking guy at all. I think Thiago would offer Pogba that attacking speed element that United so desperately need. I think he'd be a fantastic player to throw out in there. But of course, he is 27 years old, getting up there in age. Are you buying a commodity that's going to be decrease in value? That's always an issue. And as a financial person myself, I'd be a little hesitant about that. And it's the only reason I'd be a little hesitant about Thiago. If United were 5 points off the league, I'd probably be tempted to buy him in January, just for the fact that I think he might be able to make those 5 points. But I'm not really sure right now. And obviously, if Fred's going 50 million, what's Thiago going for? 50, 60, 70 potentially. But that's a lot of money to pay for someone who's 27 and is only probably going to decline in the next 3 years. So, aggressive deal. Let's move on to cams. Pablo Dybala, of course, an interesting name, and a player who's quite versatile when it comes to different things. He's play right wing, can play cam, striker, centre forward. He can do it all. And there's been rumours that his old president that he played before he moved to Juventus is saying he'll leave in January. To be honest, I don't think he's going to leave Juventus. I mean, why would you leave Juventus? You got Ronaldo. You got a world-class side there. They're going to win Serie A, let's be real here. And they're going to go far in the Champions League. I feel like that loss to United was a bit of I think I was stunned they lost that game to United. I went to the gym that night when the game was on, and when I looked at my phone, checked the final result, what happened, or the report, it was United have won. I was like, how on earth did United win that game? How? But for me, Pablo Dybala is a guy that I think is just, if United were looking for a cam, I think he'd be the perfect guy, to give United a left foot. I think he'd be a terrific guy. Obviously, I love, James Rodriguez from, he's at Real, but he's on loan at Bayern Munich. Obviously, Bayern Munich aren't going to do the deal with him, apparently. That's the rumor. But again, a player I'm just not sure United can get their hands on. He's going to cost 100+ million, I feel, and I think Juventus will sell him potentially to a Real Madrid or a Barcelona probably in the future. And I think right now he's just not I just don't think he's a fully option, but I think if United really want to go out and get him, United can go out and get him. That is Man United's way. If they want a player, they get him. I think if they really want him, they get him. I'd buy him if they only did the cam, but I think we're pretty good at the cam position at the moment. Or we don't really run a cam position, so we don't really need it anyway. But the final option on the list is, of course, his cam is Nabil Fekir, who, of course, Liverpool were linked to. The 24-year-old French, just 85 overall. I think he's, again, another player. I think he's got a very good, if United, I think you don't really play at the cam anymore, do they? They kind of play like a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, but it's never really that cam attacking position, The biggest problem I have with Mourinho is he plays the right. Like, if we bought Pablo Dybala, we'd swip him out to the right and play him like Mata at Chelsea back in his prime. Or what's say with the Fekir, we'd buy him and just plant him on the right wing kind of thing instead of playing him as a cam, which is his best position. But again, Fekir would be a fantastic player. My worry is Liverpool will go and get him this January and just put him in their midfield. And yeah, I mean, Lyon have such a good team. I forgot Fekir even played for them. Like, fair play to Lyon. Whoever Lyon's director of football is, I'd take him to United. I think he'd be a fantastic addition, to United. But anyway, that is my list of midfielders United should buy. If I had to pick 3 players I think would make a big difference to United this season, I think first off, if I had to pick a player that I would want, I think the most ready player for the Premier League, I think I'd pick Ruben Neves. But player that I think I'd pick Milankovitch Savage would definitely be my pick. And I think if I was to pick a player to also my third and final pick, I'm actually going to go with Sandro Tonali. I'm gonna put my mind to this right now. I'm gonna say Sandro Tonali is the next Andrea Pirlo. Yep, he is the next Andrea Pirlo. In 5 years, if he's not the starting Italian midfielder along with like Verratti probably or Jorginho, I'd be stunned. I'm gonna be absolutely stunned if he isn't the next world class midfielder. He's a player that's going to be an absolute baller for years to come. I think if United missed this chance, United should just pay the money. Let's go get him. Let's put him in our academy. Let's graduate into our academy and call it a day. But anyway, guys, I'm wrapping up here. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys soon. Peace out. Enjoy your day.